Hi, Josie.
How's it going?
Going great.
Awesome. Welcome everyone to Up to Your Ears. I am super excited about today's guest.
Who do we have?
We have Matt Gilmour. And yeah, he's really cool. He just put out a record. But I think he's from England originally. And if you haven't heard of Matt Gilmour, you should check him out. But a fun little fact about Matt is that, okay, so if rock and roll were a monarchy, right, he would definitely for sure be a prince. His dad is David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. So I can't imagine what that's like growing up with a rock star dad. It would, I mean, I just can't imagine.
I'm very excited to hear what he has to say and also to hear his answers to our amazing questions.
Truth or protect your rep. How have you been?
All right. Just
Yeah.
getting by. Enjoying lockdown, of course. Like
Yeah.
everyone.
Well, we have the way this interview is going to go. We have a questionnaire for you. It's relatively short, and then we're going to find out what you're doing now, so we can let everyone out there know what's going on with you. I know you have a new record out,
Yes.
and let people know about your live streams. I know you're doing a lot of live streaming, so we're going to try and direct people your way. But first, I think we should start off with the questionnaire. Vanessa, what do you say?
Yes, we've devised this really clever questionnaire that we call Truth or Protect Your Rep. So it's up to you how you'd like to answer the questions, if you want to be honest or if you want to, give people a thrill with some entertaining and interesting answers. And hopefully our questions will provoke that. Are you ready?
Cool. Well, I'm always ready.
Oh, boy.
Excellent answer. Already. I can tell it's going to be fun. All right. I know that you lived in England. Were you born in London or?
Yes, I was born in very central London.
Oh.
There's actually an area of London called the Heart of London, and when you drive in, there are signs on all the roads as you enter that part, and I was born inside of that circle.
Wow. So truly the heart of
Yes,
London.
the very heart of London in Maida Vale.
But I also know that you live in Austin and that you enjoy it there. Is there anything from England that you wish you had in Austin that you miss?
European bacon, European tomatoes, those two, and baguettes. I miss those three food options, and I miss good architecture. I didn't realize I like that sort of things, but like walking around London, no matter where you look, there's a building that you're like, oh, I could shoot a music video there. Here I'm like, is there anything in the city that I want to shoot a music video in, or do I have to drive to the countryside? Like.
Yeah. Here's another good American question for you, at least maybe. What's the first thing you think of when you hear the phrase "all you can eat"?
McDonald's? I don't know. That's the first thing I think of, and I recognize very quickly that isn't very accurate. But I don't know. I like all you can eat.
All right. Which do you prefer, beats or a melody?
Neither.
All right.
I think they're both equally important, and I find that like I often will be just as inspired by one or the other. I don't feel like it's fair to have to choose.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
This question, not fair. Matt has ruled it. Unfair question. Well, those are my questions, and Josie
Awesome.
has of her own.
Time for my questions, Matt.
All right.
First question for you. is what was your first concert ever?
Pink Floyd.
Well, that was an easy one. Okay, besides Pink
Along
Floyd,
with my first 300 concerts, I would guess.
okay, with the exception of Pink Floyd, what was the first concert that you remember that wasn't your dad on stage playing, that you thought, that you remember wanting to see and seeing?
Neil Young.
Neil Young. Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That
Was
was the
that
same. That was also the same weekend I saw Led Zeppelin and Leonard Cohen. So that was
what?
oh, Leonard Cohen, that would be amazing.
All in one weekend?
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Yeah,
Gee.
I'd say.
You're
How
telling
old
me.
were you?
I saw 17 or 18. It was when Zeppelin did that tour with John Bonham's son playing drums.
Yeah.
And it was Neil Young's first tour because his son had finally come out of his ball thing after many years of being immunodeficient. So he was capable of, that's why he quit his career for 20 years. So after that, it was his first tour after looking after his son.
Hmm.
So that was
Wow.
very cool. I'm not a huge Leonard Cohen fan, but I went.
Right.
Pretty monumental, though.
Yeah.
I would say.
It was free.
I had the tickets,
Right. Can't pass that up. Okay, here's a hypothetical for you, Matt. If you happen to find yourself on death row, just if, what would your last meal be?
Sushi.
Sushi. Yeah, you're a sushi guy. It would definitely.
Oh, wait. It's between sushi and a really good Sunday roast.
A Sunday roast. That's
Definitely a Sunday roast that beats sushi. Sorry, I retract my sushi statement. Sorry, Japan.
So it's a Sunday roast, but you don't eat a lot of cow products. So like of lamb.
Well, Sunday roast comes traditionally, at least in England, in 4 options. You got. So it's more the concept of how they're done, and you have different meats attached to it, and then the condiments change. It's not like it's the same set of vegetables and the same sauce to go with it. It's like the sauce has a correct meat. So every Sunday roast will have mint sauce with lamb,
right.
And you have cranberry jelly with turkey, and then you have bread sauce with chicken, and horseradish with beef. And then they all have you'll have Yorkshire puddings with beef, but you won't have it with chicken.
I have to say, I was a vegetarian for a very long time. And one of the things that I would allow myself, my grandmother is Belgian. One of the things that I would allow myself was her Yorkshire pudding, because it's so good.
I've never
had
had
it.
Vegan
Vegan Yorkshire puddings. I can make full vegan Sunday roasts and vegetarian Sunday roasts and all the meat options of Sunday roasts. So yeah, it was
That's
the first thing I learned how to cook.
I'm coming to your house on Sunday, Matt.
I
don't care. I'm gonna be knocking on your door. Sunday roast. I want some.
Well, because Thanksgiving is, I suppose, the only meal that America has which is reminiscent of the Sunday roast where you guys got it from originally, historically.
Yeah.
You just stopped doing it every Sunday and you started doing it once a year.
Right.
But the point of the Sunday roast is so that. Well, I think it's again down to our previous thought of how America's so much more spaced out. It didn't feasibly make sense to get your family together every weekend and bribe them with food. It was too far away. So
ply them with food. Come over.
Well, yeah, your parents bribe you. There's some free food. Come hang out with us. So it works. Thanksgiving is proof of that.
Well, I'm moving on to the next question. I think we got a good 5 or 10 minutes of gravy talk in there, though.
Yep.
And actually, this question I'm going to change because, and it's interesting when we ask this question to other musicians and artists. And the question is, have you ever been starstruck by another musician? But I'm going to change it up for you, Matt, because I feel like you grew up around a lot of rock stars. You just did. My new question to you then is, how old were you when you realized that you lived in this rock and roll sort of, like, I don't know. Your dad was a rock star. How old were you when you realized that, or did you know when you were little?
I suppose the question you should be asking, because I
Yeah.
figured that out at 3. The question is more, when did I figure out everyone else's parents didn't do that as well?
Okay, that's a good question then.
Uh, and I would say probably when I went to boarding school, so 12, 13, 11
So
region.
you just thought when you were a kid that everyone's mom or dad were,
Yeah,
that's what
everyone
they,
went traveling like that. Everyone does that.
that's amazing. That is insane, but also very, very cool. I can't imagine. I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
Um,
and also to say, I've only been starstruck by one person, and I'm still very starstruck by that person.
can you please tell us who it is?
It is a history podcaster called Dan Carlin.
Okay, Dan Collin.
Carlin, Carlin.
Harlan. Okay.
He has 2 podcasts. One's called Common Sense, and one's called Hardcore History. He's actually one of the pioneers of podcasts. And it started me reading history, and it started a whole chain of events that was why I moved to America. And all of the best things in my life can be attributed to having started that history podcast. And I have even gone to his webpage, and I have this written on a forum page. I just want to thank you for saving me from being a stupid person. Uh,
Oh,
that's
so, like,
lovely.
all of the stuff I have learned, cooking, all of these things, basically everything that people seem to admire about me, or because I've bothered to learn so many things, is only because he set me down that path. So I try to recommend his stuff as much as possible.
Matt, if you were able to go on your next tour supporting your new record, and you can bring whoever support band you would like, living or dead. What is your dream tour?
I feel like I would want Robert Johnson on there, Jeff
Okay.
Buckley on there, and then I'd need someone more like party to go with it, like somewhere like Moby or
Okay.
something along that region of
Someone to
thing.
listen the crowd up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
That sounds like a fun tour. I'd go see that.
Yeah, I think, Robert Johnson opening might not fit, but I would want it.
It's your
I think,
tour.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, moving on. Just to have a couple more questions for you. What is the strangest venue or show that you've ever played? Some like weird place or strange thing that happened, something that stands out to you, and you're like, this.
Okay, there's been a lot of embarrassing stories. So I guess it's trying to pick one that's funny at the same time as being embarrassing is probably the
Okay.
trick.
People love to that you're a little vulnerable. Like they want to know.
Um, One gig that I will never forget for some reason, and I suppose when you look at it as an overall thing, it's not that strange. But if I think about it, it still pops in my head because there's a real like one-liner quote that came out of it, and I use
Okay.
it now because it got under my skin. And we were invited to play a show in Dallas with my first band in Austin, and there was a manager who was expressing a little bit of interest in working with us, but we were. I try to be fairly clear that when people want to work with me, I want them to know that like this doesn't come with any most kids in this town have help from their parents. I get less than that, so if anything, I'm literally just here on my own trying to make things work and struggling. So people expect a lot when they work with me. And
Ask a question. When you say that they expect a lot of you when someone expresses an interest in working with you, thinking that you are going to somehow hook them up with your father, or
well,
that
no,
they
just they expect,
expect more
like
of
there's going
you
to
as a person, or
more out of my contacts, so that our band will skyrocket faster than it would with other people.
oh, that's a lot of pressure.
But everyone has pressures on them.
Yeah.
Then back to the gig, I suppose when we got there, we were invited to Dallas by this manager who was expressing an interest in my band at the time. So we go and we get there, and it was like a block party in the streets of Dallas. And he had booked it, got a few bands to play, and we played, and like no one showed up. And it was during a bunch of other block parties in the town, and they were all in a region of the town which we were like 2 miles down the road from. So it was like, how do you expect the people to come here? And I've
Right.
never been to Dallas before. Like, how am I going to bring people here? I'm from England. You expect me to bring a crowd? Like,
Right.
So we walked off stage, and he said the one-liner, which I will never forget, of, well, as far as shows go, that was one of them. And then walked away.
Okay, so those are the questions for me. Next, I want to know what's going on with you right now. I know that you just released Diagnosis, correct?
Yes. And Collage was a few months before that.
And what?
And the previous album a few months before that, Collages.
Collages, yes.
I did 2 this year.
Which is amazing. I know that you are crazy busy all of the time, writing like a maniac. And
next
so
album's finished. Well, the next album's finished writing. I'm about to start recording it, and I'm probably halfway through writing the one after that.
Why? You are such an overachiever, Matt. Like, you need to give us all a chance to listen to it. So where can we find these records?
Collages and Diagnosis as being the 2 finished ones that are out. You can find them wherever you listen to music. Pandora, Spotify, Google, iTunes, Shazam.
Okay.
You can even Shazam them, whatever.
All right. And Diagnosis is more of an electronic record versus...
Yeah, it's mostly an instrumental electronic record.
Collages is full production, full band, drums, bass, guitar, synth.
And it had, 6 different versions of the band on that record, and 2 different producers. And the whole thing is a collage. So
yeah. And so moving forward to this new record that you're busy writing.
I finished writing. I'm about to start recording. I'm writing the one after that.
Are you going to be recording that here in Austin, or?
I don't know yet. We are about to release something that's known as a making music campaign, which a few artists have started doing. It's similar to like a GoFundMe, but different. It's specifically designed for musicians to use the internet's tools to an advantage, to like gamify and get the crowd involved in the album. So you get to subscribe to it, and the level of your subscription gives you more and more access as far as you want to go. So, like...
That's interesting. And what is the name of that again?
Making Music.
Making Music. I feel like almost every time I turn around, you're there doing something, playing new music, or you're very engaging and engaged with with the people out there. It's really amazing, because I don't know that I've known another artist who has done so much online during this time. And I think it's really cool and it's hard work. Even just doing this show, I can't imagine how much.
I have a couple of fortunate advantages over the other people doing this everywhere else in the world. And they're not the ones you would expect. Firstly, I have some pretty awesome fans that we have a Discord server, and some of the really hardcore ones, we all sit there and chat, and they're constantly working behind the scenes in ways to encourage other fans to get involved and chat, and it's fun to be involved in them. And, it's a nice little community that's building, and, when you get very lonely at the beginning of coronavirus, it's, you know, you don't have a community, so you want to chat to people, and it's, you know, we all came
Right.
together, and it's been great. It's a
Yeah.
mutual tandem that feeds itself. It's not just me doing it for them, you know, like,
Right.
them doing it. Yeah. And the other big advantage that I suppose that I had was my band had been for the last 4 years been live streaming on Twitch. So while, you know, for the last 4 years, we were one of the only 3 bands in the entire world, and we looked this up, 3 bands in the world, like full
Wow.
actual. There were like lots of musicians streaming, but like actual bands putting the effort in and trying to produce themselves live on the internet. There were only 3, and 2 of them were in Austin. I actually can't remember the other Austin band, and the other one was Dead Mouse. So, you know,
Wow.
it wasn't a big group of people, and we've been doing it for quite a long time. So when everyone else started, you know, I already had lights, green screens, multiple cameras, the computer built, everything. Like, I'm way ahead, and I've also been training to do this with video games and how to live stream for years. So I just had an advantage because I've been practicing. So I do my usual schedule, which is whichever platform, but currently it's YouTube for the last 14 streams. But it's every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time,
Okay.
and then every 6 p.m. on Tuesday at Central Time, twice a week.
All right.
Week,
well, we'll
time.
find you, and we'll post it down on this video. Will also be on YouTube, so we'll let all of our subscribers know where to find you. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for being so generous with your time.
Oh,
Yes,
pleasure.
and we
Thanks for
will
having me.
be sure to link all of the information, the 2 records that are out right now, and your upcoming live streams in our video. But
you can look back on all the old ones as well. Fortunately, the last one was a pretty good one. It went all right.
Awesome.
The last
Definitely.
3 or 4 have been really good. I've been honing in on the mix. It's, you know, it's kind of when you're doing all the mixing yourself and doing all the video editing and being the drummer and the bassist and the guitarist and the singer and the cameraman at the same time, it takes a little bit of time to hone them all into being
I saw the
in
last
line.
one, and it was amazing.
Well, I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever got for working in the music industry was from Danny Johnson, the guitarist in Steppenwolf, when he was producing my first album years ago. And he was saying, I know music isn't about money or making money, but you also might want to have kids one day, and you might want to feed yourself. So it's a certain level of having respect for the money involved. And if you want to make that amount of money, there is no way to do it in the modern day and age without wearing more than one hat.
Yeah.
You can't just be the singer and the musician. You just can't. Like it's not good enough.
Well, that was fun.
Super fun. So great to meet and chat with Matt Gilmour. Please look for his records. We will provide as many links as we can below so that you can find out where to get his records and check out his videos.
And his live streams.
Yeah,
super fun.
Such a creative and interesting and affable, genuine person. Truly a pleasure to chat with him today.
For sure, definitely.
If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Up to Your Ears. I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Josie.
And it sounds good.
It does.
Well, you are what you eat.
You are what you eat.
Great, I had a cinnamon roll today.
You must be a cinnamon
I want
roll.
to figure out how to make this broccoli gravy. I want to be broccoli gravy. I'm going to find a recipe. I'm going to make it.
I invented it. It's my recipe. I'll teach it to you if you want.
Oh, I would love that.
Gravy
Gravy is my jam.